The Stillwater Planning Commission meeting of November 5th will now come to order. It will be the process this evening to call for items on the agenda. The commission will hear briefly from staff first, then the applicant and/or their representative, then open the public hearing and hear from those in favor and/or in opposition of the request. When you come to the podium, please clearly state your name and address for the record, and then before closing the public hearing, both staff, the applicant, and/or their representative will be provided an opportunity to respond and provide additional information and answer questions. After all interested parties have spoken, the public hearing will be closed, and then we will hear closing remarks and alternatives from staff. With that, we'll start with the first item for public hearings, and that will be a short-term rental, 0181.
Good evening, Planning Commission. As stated, this item is to hear the projections and a public hearing for an application for short-term rental at the property address as 142 South Redwood Drive. Here's an area map of the subject property. It's located in the RSS zoning district with the Westwood overlay. The Planning Commission is the hearing body for short-term rentals. The hearing is to be held similar to a specific use permit, except there is no staff report and there is no presentation. As a reminder, the city cannot enforce private restrictions or covenants, but the Planning Commission can give weight to them as part of the deliberative process. Are there any questions for staff?
I don't see any. Thank you. So at this time, we would have give the opportunity for the applicant to come forward and give us a little bit of information about the request.
David and Stacy Cole. We live at 2212 West Vicksburg Street, Broken Arrow, 74011. I prepared a little summary and some pictures for you. Is it okay to approach?
Yes.
You can bring it to the clerk and she can pass it around.
Thank you. Just want to take this. Yeah.
So the subject property's been in our family for 40 years. We bought it from Stacy's parents in 1999. It's always been a rental. We have not done any home improvements to date until now because, well, the college kids will destroy it. So we have 5 years experience in short-term rentals. We have one in New Mexico. It is professionally managed like this one will be, and I'll go through that in a second. We've made considerable investment to improve the look of the neighborhood. If you look at the first three pictures, you'll see a before and you'll see an after of the front and the back. As far as management and local host, Vacasa, which is a national company, property management company, will handle the bookings, make sure the city has paid their share for each booking. A local host has been assigned. His name is Chet. He is right there. He has lived in Stillwater for the last 50 years. He's our handyman, and he also did the remodel on this home. Chet will handle any kind of service calls. He can be at the property within 10 minutes. He can also be there if there is a disturbance or an emergency. We've hired a local cleaning company that specializes in short-term rentals. It's Pristine, and they are local as well. They will make sure that the exterior and the interior are kept clean. Our target guests are families coming in for sports. In events like Mom and Dad's Day, we'll have a 2-day minimum reservation, minimum 25 years old to reserve, no large gatherings or parties, no pets or smoking, and Vacasa will handle, of course, the bookings. They have multiple databases that will screen out, hopefully, potential bad guest, problem guest, as well as fraud. Monitoring, if you look at the next 3 pictures, you will see 3 cameras that I've installed, one for the front to see how many guests we got coming in, and then you'll see one on the side, which is for parking, and I'll get to parking in a second, and then one for the back in case there's large gatherings. I can monitor these cameras 24/7 by phone. As far as the Westwood Overlay District, we're well aware of this overlay. We did send the rules, the ordinance to Vacasa. They said that this is actually not a unique ordinance, as several other cities across the nation have passed something similar to that, and they feel like they have a good handle on being able to do their bookings within the rules. As far as parking goes, the driveway is 75. You'll see the next 2 pictures. The parking area is 75 feet long. Sorry, I'm a little bit numbers wise. The average car length in the U.S. is 14.7 feet. The average pickup is 17.5. That means that I can get 3 vehicles with a 20 to 30 foot space in between. Also have a parking pad, which is approximately 25 feet long and 18 foot wide. That is space enough to handle 2 more vehicles. So reasonably, we should be able to get 5 vehicles. With that, thank you for your time and try to answer any questions.
Okay. Any questions from the commissioners?
Yeah, first of all, thank you. Very well prepared here with all the data. Vacasa, they just handle the bookings only. They don't interact with the guests necessarily outside of the booking, like if there's a problem or something, because they don't have a local presence, right?
Right, and that's what the
Okay.
Yes. They have so the way it works, it's not a full service in Stillwater. They handle the bookings and make sure the city gets paid. They will have the calls in case that there is, say, something's wrong, like a repair or something needs to be done, or they can't get into the property. And then what they'll do is they'll field those calls, and then they will reach out to Chet, who will take care of the rest of it.
Okay. I'm guessing you worked with them on your New Mexico property. Is that right?
Actually, no. We have there's a local property management company. It's a ski house, so it's very small town, and he lives actually right up the road. So it gives us a little bit of comfort in that he can check on the house at any time, but that's how it's held done there.
All right, thank you. Actually, I have another question.
Yeah.
So you said no large gatherings or parties. Do you have a quantity? I missed it somewhere. Maybe you said it as far as number of guests.
Yeah, so we have 3 bedrooms. I mean, I guess it's what we can get approved for, but we were looking at 6 to 8 people.
Okay.
So we have 3 bedrooms, like I said, but we have 2. We have the ability to put 2 beds in the basement, as it's the lower floor is quite large. But we would not have any more than 6 or 8. And
Would you have a provision about street parking since you have 5 spaces?
So the street parking on that particular street, Redwood, is that you can park on the other side after 5 o'clock, but there is no parking on
your side.
our side of the street, and that's why it's important, obviously, that I covered, that we have ample parking.
Yeah, I knew that street was tight.
It is. We're fortunate that if you look at it, that it's got a long driveway. Now you have to stack them, but on the other side you can see, of course, that brick pad is obviously not up to what it was, what you would do today, but that was laid in 1985. And the reason I know that is because Stacy helped her father put that pad in.
Okay. Thank you.
Mhm.
Any other questions? All right, thank you. So at this time, we'd open the public hearing and ask if there's anyone else in the audience who would like to speak in favor of this item to come forward. Seeing none, I'll ask if there's anyone in the audience this evening that would like to speak in opposition of this item to please come forward. Okay. Seeing none, we'll close the public hearing, and we don't really have any findings, but could staff come forward and just remind us of what our alternatives are?
Your options for this item are to approve the application, defer for additional discussion, or deny.
Thank you.
I think that the applicant did a great job of covering basically all the things that we typically talk about, all the things that we look for in a good STR. The only thing that in this particular neighborhood is the Westwood Overlay District that sticks out to me, but sounds like they've passed that on to Vacasa, and they think that they'll be able to abide by those district policies. Are we allowed to stipulate in our approval that they do abide by the Westwood Overlay District policies?
Yes, we've done that previously
That's what I thought. I just wanted
within
to
this district.
and that's what I thought. So I think that would be prudent. Anything else?
Would you like to make that in the form of a motion?
Yep, so I'll go ahead and motion to approve the STR as presented with the stipulation that they abide by the Westwood Overlay District policies.
A second.
We have a motion and a second. We shall now vote. Motion passes 4-0. We'll now move to the next item on the agenda, which is a map amendment, MA 24-12, and we shall hear from staff first.
All right, good evening, Planning Commissioners. Jacqueline Porter, City Planner. I'm going to be presenting the next two items together since they're correlating. So the next two items on the agenda is for the property address as 1324 East 6th Avenue. The property owner is requesting to rezone the property from CG to CS, which is commercial shopping with a planned unit development, to allow for the conversion of an existing motel to a multifamily for apartments. The subject property is located in the northeast area of Stillwater near the intersection of East 6th Avenue and South Hafner Street. I'm sure I butchered the street name too. So, the subject property has frontage on East 6th Avenue and South Hafner Street, located north of Fairlawn Cemetery, right across from 6th. All right, here is a street view looking north off of East 6th Avenue. All right, so the current zoning of the property is commercial general. Commercial general is located along East 6th Avenue and to the north. Small lot single family is located to the south, which is the cemetery. And then two family residential is to the west. And two family and multifamily zoning districts is to the northeast of the subject property. The future land use map was adopted with the 2030 comprehensive plan with the projected desired use in the community there to be commercial. So going into a little bit about the planned unit development. The planned unit development that's going to be called Stillwater Studios is approximately 1.5 acres with an existing motel consisting of 32 units, a laundry facility, and an office building. The PUD is in conjunction with the rezoning. The proposed use of the property is converting the motel, which was built in 1950, the laundry facility and leasing office, into studio apartments, and renovating the facility and renovating the office to an office space and a resident property manager living space. So, why the PUD? The personal and laundry services and mixed use, a structure with office space and dwelling unit are permitted use by rights in commercial shopping. However, multi-use is allowed in commercial shopping with a specific use permit. The multifamily is not allowed in CG. That is why there's the CS is being presented to you. So the planning unit development will establish the setbacks based on the existing structures, screening, landscaping, and the uses. I'll leave this up while I finish talking. Okay, the proposal of the repurposing into apartments is to provide a less transient and more stable occupancy benefits the community in multiple ways by renovating a blighted property and creating a different type of housing for the community. The maintenance of the structure and operation of the facility on the site will be under a single ownership. Property maintenance will reside on the property, allowing for a readily available security. There was, just for information, there was a town hall meeting that was held on October 29th over at the Stillwater Chamber of Commerce conference room that went out to the property owners within 300 feet. There were 6 individuals that attended the meeting, and the Ghost and Associates in Austin were there, which is the project manager, was available for questions at that time, and they are here tonight as well. And there was no objections to the proposed use, just questions for clarification on what was going. So at this time, is there any questions for staff on this one?
I don't see any.
All right. Right. So,
Fantastic.
yes, Stephen's
Okay.
here and Austin.
All right, fantastic.
Good evening, Commissioners. Stephen Ghost with Ghost and Associates, 113 East 8th Avenue. Here on behalf of the applicant, and like Jackie said, Austin's here if you've got questions for them as the developer and operator, but she pretty well covered everything. I mean, the short condensed version again, we're going for commercial shopping because it allows multifamily with an SUP. Then the PUD will act as that specific use permit, as well as the setbacks. The existing buildings don't meet the current setback codes because it was developed at a different time. So the PUD has a site plan attached to it with those setbacks, the parking shown, and all of that. And your packet should have the letter of intent, the building elevations, and some other things like that. So if there's any questions for me, I can try to answer them, or we can get Austin up here if you've got operations questions.
When it says remodel, I mean, the existing buildings will be
The existing-
remain and just be like the interior and the exterior, but
Yeah, the interiors will get remodeled. They've already started some of that work. They've stopped it, but they'll have a little kitchenette in them, new carpet, new paint. The outsides will get painted, a new roof. The parking lot will get sealed and striped, and there'll be some fences constructed.
Is it in use today? I don't even know.
They've already purchased it and moved out.
Okay.
It's not functioning as a motel today.
Okay.
No, but they've already started the remodel.
Are they targeting like an annual kind of lease or shorter term or what?
And I can answer the short version of that. They're going to try to target 12-month leases, 6-month if they need to. They've got income restrictions, credit scores, a whole vetting process they go through. If you want more detail, Austin can answer it. He's better at that than I am. So
I was just curious if it was like college students kind of things. It sounds.
it's really, they've got a rent they're going for, and like I said, some parameters around credit scores and income.
So would it be tax credit, or is it, doesn't matter?
Yeah, that's not actually relevant. It's only we're approving whether the use is appropriate for this property.
Understood.
Any other questions? No? Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. At this time, we'll open the public hearing and ask if there's anyone in the audience that would like to speak in favor of this item to come forward. Seeing none, I'll ask if there's anyone in the audience this evening that would like to speak in opposition of this item to please come forward. Seeing none, we'll close the public hearing and ask staff to please give us our findings and alternatives.
All right. I didn't really talk this out with legal. Do we do the findings? I have the findings for. Are we doing it two separate motions?
It would be two separate.
Okay, good. Then I got it set up perfectly.
Good.
All right, so I'm going to present the findings for the rezoning. So the Land Development Code allows for rezoning of the land via map amendment, and the comprehensive plan calls for commercial use along this corridor. So your alternatives for the map amendment is accept findings and recommend that the City Council approve the proposed map amendment as presented. Find that the map amendment is not an appropriate use for the property based upon the impacts to the surrounding vicinity, and do not recommend that the City Council approve the map amendment, or find that the additional information or discussion is needed prior to making a recommendation and table the request to a certain date.
Thank you.
I mean, personally, I think that it would be a good use for the property, something that has not been in use and that has been deteriorated. Seeing it getting remodeled, I think, is great and would be a good use for it.
I would agree with you.
So I will motion to approve the map amendment as presented and recommend that the City Council approve as well.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. We shall now vote. Motion passes 4-0.
Just to clarify, I
Did I not
would
say that
open
right?
a public hearing for the next item for everybody to speak in opposition or in favor, close it, and then
Okay.
make a motion.
All right. Can do. All right. So the next item is the planned unit development, which is the PUD or the PUD 24-01 that was just discussed. So it's to allow the conversion of an existing motel structure to a multifamily district with a laundry facility and office at the property addressed as 1324 East 6th Avenue. As we've already heard from staff on this item, we will now open the public hearing and ask if there's anyone in the audience that would like to speak in favor of this item to please come forward. Seeing none, we'll ask if there's anyone in the audience this evening that would like to speak in opposition of this item. Seeing none, we will close the public hearing and ask staff to please give us the alternatives and findings if you got them, Jackie.
All right, so with the PUD, you have review items. So I'm just going to read the numbers. I'm not going to go into the purpose. So whether the proposed plat of the PUD is what?
PUD.
Yep,
PUD.
the PUD is consistent with the comprehensive plan, or whether the proposed PUD is compatible with the existing and expected development of surrounding areas, and whether the proposed PUD is consistent with the stated purposes and standards of Article 14 planned unit developments, which is below. I'll leave it a little bit if you need to read through.
Thank you, Jackie.
All right, so your alternatives. You have accept findings and review items and recommend the City Council approve the proposed preliminary planned unit development plat as presented, or find that the preliminary planned unit development plat is not an appropriate for the property based upon the impact to the surrounding vicinities, and do not recommend that City Council approve this not map amendment. This is going to be the preliminary planned unit development plat, and then or 3, find that additional information or discussion is needed prior to making a recommendation and table the request to a certain date.
I do have one question on the alternatives. The alternatives are listing a preliminary PUD. So
Oh.
will this come back?
It is a preliminary PUD, so that comes back as a final to staff only. If there's minor amendments, staff reviews those and approves those. If it's a major amendment, it will then come back.
Okay, very good. Thank you. Just wanted to clarify that. Any other questions? Okay.
I would motion to approve and recommend that the city council approve the preliminary PUD as presented.
That's second.
We have a motion and a second. We shall now vote. Motion passes 4-0. We'll now move to see that concludes public hearings listed on the agenda this evening, and we will move to meeting summaries for review and possible action. We'll take each of these individually. There are 3. The first one listed is the regular meeting summary for June 25th, 2024. I'll say I had one item on there. I don't know. I sent it in late today. I don't know if you saw that.
The email will make those
Okay.
modifications, but if you say that.
Yes, so the one I had was a spelling of a name, and that is with, it's on page 6 of the minutes. There it is. I believe it should be Mr. Fred Forbes, Forbes, rather than Forms, who spoke. And that was the only thing I had for that one. Any other corrections? Okay. Do I hear a motion to approve the minutes?
So moved.
Okay. Second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the minutes as directed with the one confirmed name misspelling. We shall now vote. Motion passes 4-0. The next item listed is the meeting summary for the regular meeting of August 6th, 2024. Do you have any corrections? No? Do I hear a motion to approve as submitted?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the meeting summary of August 6th as submitted. We shall now vote. Motion passes 4-0. We also have the regular meeting summary of October 1st, 2024. Do we have any corrections to the minutes?
Motion to approve.
You have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the regular meeting summary of October 1st, 2024 as submitted. We shall now vote.
There's a mistake in this, but
Oh, do you have a correction?
I do.
Okay,
Wasn't quick enough.
that's okay.
On election of vice chair, I wasn't here to vote, so I didn't vote yes.
All right. Okay, so procedurally, we have a motion and a second, so we should,
Vote on the motion that was presented.
okay, all right, so the motion that was presented
Was to approve.
was
the
to approve it
minutes
as submitted, so we would need to vote no in order to get it corrected.
Sorry.
Correct.
All right. All right, that motion does not pass. So do I hear a motion to approve the minutes of October 1st with a correction as listed by Commissioner Prather?
I make a motion to approve this.
Okay.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the corrected minutes of October 1st. We shall now vote. That motion passes 4-0. Right. Next item on the agenda is miscellaneous items from staff, planning commissioners, or the city attorney for discussion and possible action. The one item we do have listed is that the next regular meeting is Tuesday, November 19th. All right, I see no other announcements. All right. The last item we have is to adjourn. Do I hear a motion to adjourn the meeting?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to adjourn. We shall now vote. Motion passes 4-0. We are now adjourned.